being aggressive right now! I ask for water only.
Stand up now, or we will force you!
I am not resisting. You are hurting me.
Just walk with us, ma'am. Just walk with us, ma'am.
The deal is terminated, effective immediately.
You can't not do this business! That's thinning!
Mom, if you keep that tone, I will have you removed from this aircraft. The sentence landed in the first-class cabin like a glass dropped on marble. Doctor, Evelyn Brooks looked up slowly from her laptop. Her hands stayed folded beside the keyboard. Her voice had not risen. Her shoulders had not moved. She had asked for sparkling water with lime. That was all. Across the aisle, a man in a navy fleece froze with his whiskey halfway to his mouth. A woman near the window lowered her magazine just enough to watch. Nobody spoke. Evelyn looked at the flight attendant standing over her. Her name tag read Linda Harper. Linda was in her late 50s, neat as a pin, with silver blonde hair pinned tight behind her head. Her navy uniform was spotless. Her smile had disappeared. "I'm sorry," Evelyn said, calm but firm. "What tone?" Linda's lips pressed into a hard line. "That one," she said, the attitude. Evelyn took a slow breath through her nose. The cabin air smelled faintly of leather, coffee, and jet fuel, drifting in through the open boarding door. Outside the oval window, rain streaked down the glass at San Francisco International Airport. Ground crews moved under yellow lights, guiding luggage carts through the wet gray afternoon. Inside, everything was polished and quiet. Too quiet. Evelyn was seated in 2B, a wide cream leather seat near the front of Continental Vista Flight 1109 to New York. Her dark gray suit was pressed. Her hair was pulled back in a simple low bun. A thin gold watch rested against her wrist. Nothing about her was loud. That was part of the problem. Some people needed power to announce itself before they respected it. Linda had not. 20 minutes earlier, Evelyn had boarded early, placed her carry-on neatly in the overhead bin, and opened her laptop. On the screen was the final version of a $5 billion agreement between Brooks Meridian Capital and Continental Vista Airways. It was not just a travel contract. It was the future of the airline. Evelyn's firm represented a consortium of 20 companies, more than 50,000 employees, and a new sustainable aviation fuel partnership the airline had spent 6 months courting. Continental Vista's CEO, Charles Bennett, had called her personally 3 times that week. "Evelyn, this partnership changes everything," he had said. She believed him. That was why she was on this flight. Not for comfort, not for champagne. She was flying to New York to sign the final documents. Then Linda Harper walked by with a tray of drinks. Champagne for the older couple in row 1. Whiskey for the man across from Evelyn. White wine for a retired attorney 2 rows back, who Linda greeted by name. When Linda reached Evelyn, her smile thinned. "Something before departure?" she asked, as if the question cost her something. "Sparkling water with lime, please," Evelyn said, still reviewing the indemnity clause on her screen. Linda gave a small nod and moved on. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The cabin door was still open. Passengers settled in. Overhead bins clicked shut. The man across the aisle received a refill. Linda laughed softly at something he said. Evelyn waited. She had learned to wait, in boardrooms, at restaurants, at donor galas, at hotel front desks where the clerk looked past her to the white man behind her. She knew the small delays, the little tests, the extra checks dressed up as procedure. Still, she gave people room to do better. She pressed the call button once. Linda turned from the galley. Her face changed before she even walked over. "Yes?" she said. "I'm sorry to bother you," Evelyn said. "I'm still waiting on the sparkling water." Linda glanced toward the front of the plane, then back at Evelyn. "We are very busy during boarding." Evelyn looked at the whiskey glass across the aisle, then at the champagne flutes in row 1. "I understand," she said, "but you've served other passengers. I'm only asking for the drink I requested." The words were simple. The effect was immediate. Linda's jaw tightened, her eyes sharpened. Something old and practiced moved behind them, something that had less to do with water and more to do with who was allowed to ask. "You need to lower your voice," Linda said. The cabin shifted. Evelyn felt it. The sideways glances, the sudden silence, the quiet fear that truth might require participation. "I am not raising my voice," Evelyn said. Linda leaned closer. "You're becoming agitated." There it was. The word that changed the room. Agitated. Evelyn closed her laptop halfway. Not with anger. With care. Like a surgeon setting down a blade before speaking. "I'm not agitated," she said. "I'm a passenger asking why I was skipped." Linda let out a short breath through her nose. "I don't like your tone." Evelyn held her gaze. "And I don't like being described as aggressive for asking to be treated the same as everyone else." The man across the aisle looked down at his phone. The woman with the magazine pretended to read again. Linda straightened. "That's enough," she said. Her voice rose now. Hers, not Evelyn's. "I'm not going to be spoken to like this. If you continue, I'll report you as non-compliant." Evelyn felt a cold knot form beneath her ribs. She knew this script. A calm question became attitude. A request became disruption. A black woman's stillness became danger. For a moment, she thought of her father, a school principal in Atlanta who used to tell her, "Baby, never let them make you smaller just to keep them comfortable." She looked around the first-class cabin. Expensive watches, soft shoes, quiet mouths. Then she looked back at Linda. "Report exactly what happened," Evelyn said. Every word. Linda's expression hardened into something almost satisfied. "Oh, I will." She turned sharply and walked toward the front galley. Evelyn watched her go. On her laptop screen, the $5 billion contract glowed in the dim cabin light. Continental Vista thought it was preparing for takeoff. It had no idea it had just begun its descent. Linda Harper did not walk to the galley like a woman going to solve a service problem. She walked like a woman going to war. Her shoes struck the cabin floor in tight, clipped steps. At the front, she leaned close to another flight attendant and spoke in a low voice, but not low enough. Evelyn could not hear every word, only pieces. Hostile, refusing to comply, making the crew uncomfortable. The other attendant, a younger man named Aaron, glanced back at Evelyn. His face showed doubt for half a second. Then Linda touched his sleeve and kept talking. His eyes dropped to the tablet in his hand. That was how it happened, Evelyn thought. Not all at once. Not with shouting. With small permissions. With people deciding silence was safer than truth. Across the aisle, Todd Reynolds shifted in seat 2A. He was in his mid-30s, dressed like a man who worked in tech, and wanted everyone to know he did not care about clothes. Expensive hoodie, expensive sneakers, expensive indifference. He had heard everything. Evelyn knew he had. Todd looked at her, then quickly looked away. The cabin door was still open. Rain tapped against the window. The aircraft hummed with that low electric sound of systems waking up before departure. A baby cried somewhere in economy, then quieted. First class stayed stiff and watchful. Evelyn placed both hands on her closed laptop. Her pulse was steady, but she could feel the heat rising at the back of her neck. Not fear exactly. Recognition. She had been in rooms where men interrupted her, then called her difficult when she finished her sentence. She had seen investors smile at her junior associate and ask him to explain her own strategy. She had spent half her life proving she belonged in places where her name was already on the door. But a plane was different. A plane was a sealed room. A uniform carried power here, and power, when mixed with prejudice, could turn ordinary moments into public punishment. Linda returned with a gate agent walking beside her. He was a younger man, maybe late 30s, with tired eyes and a clipboard pressed to his chest. His name badge read Kevin Miles. He looked like someone who had already decided this would be annoying before he knew what this was. Linda stood slightly behind him, arms folded. Kevin stopped at Evelyn's row. "Mom," he said, using the flat customer service voice of someone building distance. "I'm going to need to speak with you." Evelyn looked up. "Of course." Kevin glanced down at his clipboard, then at her laptop, then at her face. "My flight attendant has reported that you've been disruptive toward the crew." Todd stopped moving. The woman with the magazine held perfectly still. Evelyn felt the cabin listening. "Disruptive how?" she asked. Kevin blinked as if the question surprised him. "Raising your voice, refusing crew instructions, creating a hostile environment." Evelyn slowly turned her head toward Linda. Linda's expression did not change, not guilt, not hesitation, only a small, tight look of victory. "That is false," Evelyn said. Her voice was quiet, too quiet for anyone honest to call it yelling. "I asked for sparkling water. She skipped me. I asked again. She accused me of having a tone." Linda stepped forward. She was aggressive from the start. Evelyn looked at Kevin. "That is also false." Linda lifted her chin. She pointed at me. Evelyn's eyebrows drew together. "I pointed to your name tag because I addressed you by name." "She was escalating," Linda said quickly. "I didn't feel safe." The words changed the temperature of the room. I didn't feel safe. They were heavy words, important words. Words meant to protect people from real danger. And in Linda's mouth, they became a weapon. Kevin's posture hardened. Evelyn saw it happen. The moment he stopped seeing a passenger and started seeing a liability. "Ms. Brooks," he said. "Dr. Brooks," Evelyn corrected. A faint flush crossed his face. "Dr. Brooks." "The captain has been informed." "The captain has been given a lie," Evelyn said. Kevin sighed, as if she had confirmed everything Linda said. "Mom, arguing is not going to help." "I'm not arguing. I'm answering an accusation." Linda made a soft sound behind him, almost a laugh. Evelyn looked past Kevin to Todd. "Sir," she said, "you were seated here the entire time. You heard the exchange. Did I raise my voice?" Todd's eyes widened. He did not want this. He wanted his whiskey, his quiet flight, his clean conscience without the cost of earning it. "I mean," he said, rubbing the back of his neck, "I had my earbuds in." Evelyn stared at him. His earbuds had been on the tray table. Todd swallowed. "She seemed upset," he added. The words landed harder than Linda's accusation. Not because they were loud, because they were weak. Evelyn's face did not change, but something inside her went very still. Kevin nodded once, as if the matter was settled. "Okay. Mom, based on what we've been told, the captain is not comfortable departing with you on board." The cabin held its breath. Evelyn leaned back slightly. "Because I asked for water. Because you made the crew uncomfortable." "No," Evelyn said. "Because she lied and you accepted it without asking a single serious question." Kevin's jaw tightened. "I need you to gather your belongings and step off the aircraft." "No." It was one word, flat, clear, final. Linda's eyes flashed. Kevin lowered his voice. "Mom, don't make this harder." Evelyn opened her laptop just enough to wake the screen. The contract appeared again, bright and waiting. She let Kevin see the title page. Continental Vista Strategic Partnership Agreement. $5 billion. His eyes flicked to it, only for a second. Not enough to understand, just enough to feel something was off. Evelyn closed it again. "I have done nothing wrong," she said. "I am a ticketed first-class passenger. I have complied with every lawful instruction. If you remove me, you will be removing me because your employee falsely labeled me as Isev after denying me equal service." Kevin's face went pale around the mouth. Linda stepped in. "She's threatening the airline now." Evelyn reached for her phone. "No," she said. "I'm documenting it." She pressed record and placed the phone on the armrest, camera facing up, capturing voices, faces, silence. Kevin stared at the phone. "Are you recording us?" "Yes. You don't have permission. This is a public accommodation, and I am recording my own interaction," Evelyn said. "You can continue." For the first time, Linda looked uncertain, only a flicker. But Evelyn saw it. So did Aaron in the galley. So did Todd, who suddenly looked down like the floor might open beneath him. Kevin took one step back. "I'm calling airport police." Evelyn nodded. "Then call them." Her voice did not tremble, but her hand rested over her phone, like it was the last solid thing in the room. Kevin turned toward the door. Linda stayed behind, staring down at Evelyn. "You should have just taken the next drink service," she said under her breath. Evelyn looked at her with a calm that made Linda's smile fade. "No, Linda," she said. "You should have brought the water." The sound of boots on the jet bridge came before anyone spoke. Heavy, measured, official. Every head in first class turned toward the open aircraft door. Linda straightened. Kevin stepped aside. The cabin seemed to shrink, like the air had been pulled tighter around everyone inside it. Two officers appeared at the entrance. The first was broad, late 40s, his uniform stretched across his shoulders. His badge read Officer Russo. His face carried that worn look of a man who had seen too many versions of the same story, and stopped asking which one was true. Behind him stood a younger officer, taller, leaner. Officer Daniel Price. His eyes moved quickly, taking in the cabin, the passengers, the tension. Russo stepped forward. "Which one?" he asked. Linda didn't hesitate. She pointed. "Evelyn." No pause. No doubt. No second thought. "There," she said. "Seat 2B." Every eye followed her finger. Evelyn did not move. She sat straight, her phone still recording on the armrest. The small red light blinked steadily. Quiet, unshaken. Russo walked down the aisle, each step slow, deliberate, authority without effort. Price followed, but his gaze lingered, on Evelyn's posture, on her calm, on the fact that nothing about her matched the word disruptive. They stopped at her row. "Mom," Russo said, "we need you to come with us." He did not ask what happened. He did not ask why. He did not look at Kevin, or Linda, or anyone else. He looked at Evelyn like the decision had already been made before he stepped onto the plane. Evelyn lifted her eyes to meet his. "Officer," she said, voice steady, "I am Dr. Evelyn Brooks. I am a ticketed first-class passenger. I have been falsely accused of being disruptive." Russo exhaled through his nose. "I don't need the story," he said. "The captain wants you off the aircraft." Evelyn felt the words settle. Not heavy, not surprising, just confirming what she already knew. "Then the captain has been misinformed," she said. Russo shifted his weight. "That's not for me to decide." Price glanced at her again. A flicker of hesitation. "Sir," he said quietly to Russo. "Maybe we should." Russo cut him off with a small shake of his head. "We're not here to investigate. We're here to remove." The sentence hung in the air. Remove, not help, not understand. Remove. Evelyn's fingers rested lightly on her phone. "You're making a mistake," she said. Russo's expression hardened. "Mom, you can walk off with us or we can assist you, your choice." The cabin held its breath again. Todd stared straight ahead now, jaw tight. The woman with the magazine had stopped pretending. She watched openly, eyes wide, but said nothing. Evelyn looked around, at the silence, at the cost of speaking, then back at Russo. "I am not walking off," she said. "I have broken no law. I have followed every instruction. I am being removed because an employee lied." Russo's patience snapped. "We're done talking." He reached for her arm. Fast, too fast. Evelyn pulled back instinctively. "Do not touch me," she said louder now, not shouting clear. Russo's grip tightened. "You're resisting," he barked. "I am not resisting," Evelyn said. "You are grabbing me without cause." Price stepped in, uncertain but committed now, his training taking over his doubt. He took her other arm. "I am not resisting," Evelyn repeated, her voice rising with urgency. "You are on camera. You are being recorded." The phone caught everything, the hands, the tension, the shift from control to force. Russo pulled, hard. Evelyn's shoulder jerked forward. Her balance broke for a second. Her laptop slid from the seat, hit the floor with a sharp crack. Gasps rippled through the cabin. Todd flinched back as if distance could erase his part in it. "Stand up," Russo ordered. Evelyn steadied herself. Her heart was pounding now, not from fear, from the sheer violation of it. The suddenness, the disregard. "I am standing," she said. But they didn't wait. They pulled again. The aisle was narrow. Her shoe caught against the edge of the seat. It slipped off. Her jacket twisted across her shoulders. "Careful," Price muttered under his breath. Russo ignored him. "Move." They guided her forward, not gently, not violently enough to leave obvious marks, but firm, controlling, absolute. Every passenger watched, some with shock, some with discomfort, most with silence. That phones appeared now, slowly, quietly, screens glowing in the dim cabin. No one spoke. Evelyn felt it all. The eyes, the weight of being seen and not defended. The quiet agreement of people who would later say they didn't know what to do. "This is wrong," she said. Not to the officers, not to Linda, but to the room. No one answered. Linda stood near the galley, arms crossed, a small smile at the corner of her mouth. Victory. As if this had been about control from the start. Evelyn saw it, locked it in. They reached the front of the cabin. The open door, the gray light from the jet bridge. Russo pushed forward. "Watch your step." The words sounded almost polite. Evelyn stepped onto the metal floor. The air was colder here, sharper. The sound changed, echoed, hollow. Behind her, the aircraft door began to close. Slow, final. The seal of a decision already made. Evelyn stumbled once, catching herself against the railing. Her wrist throbbed where Russo had gripped it, already darkening beneath her skin. She turned back, for a second, looked at the door, at the plane, at the place where she had been sitting just minutes ago, a first-class passenger, a partner, a future, now removed, just like that. Russo pulled out a small notepad. "Name," he said. Evelyn straightened. Slowly, carefully. The moment shifted. Something in her settled. The shock burned away. What remained was colder, clearer, more dangerous. "Before I give you anything," she said, voice low, controlled, "I want your badge number." Russo blinked. Did not expect that. 4491, he said. She nodded. "And yours," she said, looking at Price. He hesitated, then answered, 317. Evelyn repeated both numbers under her breath, memorizing, locking them in like entries on a ledger. Then she looked directly at Russo. "I'm not filing a complaint," she said. Russo almost smirked. "Good." Evelyn held his gaze. "I'm filing a lawsuit." The smirk faded. "Against you," she continued. "Against your department, and against Continental Vista Airways." Russo let out a short laugh. "Get in line." Evelyn didn't react. She reached down, picked up her phone, stopped the recording, saved it, then looked back at the closed aircraft door one last time. Inside, they were probably serving drinks again, finishing boarding, moving on. Evelyn Brooks adjusted her jacket, slipped her shoe back on, and took a slow breath. She was no longer a passenger. She was a decision, and Continental Vista had just made the most expensive one of its existence. Evelyn walked off the jet bridge without looking back. The terminal noise hit her all at once. Rolling suitcases, overhead announcements, a child laughing somewhere too loudly. The normal rhythm of an airport that had no idea something irreversible had just happened a few feet away. She kept walking, not fast, not slow, controlled. Her phone was still in her hand, warm, heavy with everything it now held. Behind her, the aircraft door sealed with a dull metallic thud. Flight 1109 would depart without her. Evelyn stopped near a wide glass window overlooking the tarmac. Rain blurred the runway lights into streaks of yellow and white. The plane she had been on sat still, engines idling, unaware. Or maybe aware, she thought. Systems always knew when something critical had been removed. They just did not always understand the consequence. She opened her phone. The video file stared back at her. Unedited, unfiltered, truth. For a moment she watched the first few seconds. Linda's voice, Kevin's tone, Russo's grip, her own voice, steady even when it should have cracked. She stopped the playback. There would be time for that later. Right now, there were decisions to make. She tapped a contact, Nathan Cole, Chief Legal Officer. The line rang once, twice, then his voice. "Evelyn?" He already sounded alert, like a man who had learned to hear trouble before it was explained. "I need you," she said. No greeting, no preamble. A pause on the other end. "I'm here. I was just removed from a Continental Vista flight," she said, "by airport police, at the request of a flight attendant who fabricated a report." Silence, not confusion. "Calculation. Are you safe?" Nathan asked. "Yes." "Injured?" Evelyn looked down at her wrist. The bruise was forming now, dark, distinct, the shape of fingers. "I have a bruise," she said, "and a full recording." Nathan exhaled slowly. "Okay, tell me everything." Evelyn did not rush. She walked as she spoke, past closed gates, past people waiting, unaware they were walking through the beginning of a corporate disaster. She laid it out clean. The missed service, the accusation, the false report, the bystander who chose silence, the officers who chose force, no exaggeration, no emotion added, just facts. When she finished, Nathan did not speak immediately. "That's a civil rights case," he said finally. "Assault, false removal, discrimination exposure. This is significant." Evelyn stopped walking. "It's more than that," she said. "How?" She looked back toward the runway, at the plane, at the contracts sitting on her laptop inside it. "Pull the deal," she said. Nathan went quiet again. "The entire agreement?" he asked. "Yes, Evelyn, that's a $5 billion partnership. I'm aware. The board has already approved it. They approved it based on trust," she said. "That trust is broken." Nathan lowered his voice. "Are you certain?" Evelyn closed her eyes for a brief second. Not from doubt, from clarity. "This is not about me being inconvenienced," she said. "This is about a company that allowed its employee to weaponize bias, and a system that enforced it without question. What happens when one of our junior analysts is treated like this? Someone without my resources, without a recording. Nathan did not interrupt. What happens when they are arrested? Evelyn continued. Or injured, or worse. A long breath on the other end. You're framing this as systemic risk, Nathan said. It is systemic risk, Evelyn replied. Cultural failure at the operational level. That becomes liability at scale. Nathan understood now. She could hear it in the silence. Okay, he said. We'll initiate termination. I want a statement drafted, Evelyn added. 1 hour. No names yet, but clear language. Safety failure, values misalignment. Understood. Evelyn ended the call. She stood still for a moment. Let the noise of the terminal wash around her. Then she dialed again. Rebecca Shaw, Chief Operating Officer. Rebecca picked up on the first ring. Evelyn, I was just about to call you. Are you boarding? No, Evelyn said. I'm not on the flight. Rebecca paused. Why? I was removed. A sharp inhale. What? Evelyn repeated it. Shorter this time, tighter. Rebecca did not speak for several seconds. Then, are you okay? Yes. Do we need to call someone? We are someone, Evelyn said. That landed. Rebecca shifted instantly. What do you need? The deal is dead, Evelyn said. Rebecca swore under her breath. Evelyn, that's I know what it is. Another pause. Then quieter. What's your next move? Evelyn looked out at the runway again. At the plane beginning to push back now. Too late. Call Marcus, she said. Get the board ready. I want alignment within the hour. Done. And Rebecca? Yeah? Evelyn's voice softened just slightly. Make sure our people understand why. Rebecca didn't hesitate. I will. Evelyn ended the call. Her phone buzzed almost immediately. A notification. Continental Vista Customer Care. She opened it. We are sorry for the inconvenience to your travel experience. As a gesture of goodwill, we have added a $200 voucher to your account. Evelyn stared at the screen. $200. For being grabbed, for being removed, for being labeled a problem. She let out a quiet breath. Not anger, not laughter, something colder. She took a screenshot, forwarded it to Nathan. Add this, she typed. Then she looked up again. The plane lifted off in the distance, disappearing into low clouds. Evelyn Brooks slipped her phone into her bag, adjusted her jacket, and turned away from the window. Continental Vista believed it had removed a passenger. What it had actually done was remove its future. And the consequences were already in motion. Evelyn did not go to the airline counter. She did not argue with a supervisor. She did not stand in line. She did not ask for an apology that would never be real. She walked past all of it, straight through the terminal, past the noise, past the confusion, past the version of herself they thought they had dismissed. Her phone buzzed again. Rebecca. Board is assembling, she said without greeting. Marcus is already on. They've seen the alert draft. Good, Evelyn said. You're going to get pushback, Rebecca added. Finance is going to panic. This deal was baked into projections. Evelyn kept walking. Her heels clicked against the polished floor. Steady, measured. They should panic, she said. That's their job. Rebecca let out a short breath. Half laugh, half disbelief. You're really doing this, yes. Another pause. Okay, Rebecca said. Then we do it clean. Always, Evelyn replied and ended the call. She stepped into a quieter part of the terminal. A closed newsstand, dim lighting, a row of empty seats facing the glass. She sat down. For the first time since the jet bridge, she let her body settle, not relax, just settle. Her wrist pulsed again. A reminder, not of pain, of proof. She reached into her bag, pulled out her laptop, opened it. The contract filled the screen. Continental Vista Strategic Partnership. $5 billion. Hundreds of hours, dozens of people. All of it balanced on trust. Evelyn stared at the document, then closed it. Not slowly, not dramatically, just closed. She opened a new email to Andrew Whitaker, CEO of Aeronova Airlines. Subject line blank for a second. Then she typed, "Are you available to talk?" She hit send. Her phone rang before she could close the laptop. Andrew did not waste time. "Evelyn," he said. His voice carried that sharp edge of a man who had built his career watching competitors make mistakes. "I was expecting to hear from you next week." "Plans changed," she said. "I heard you were flying Continental today." "I was," she said. "I'm not anymore." A pause. Not confusion. Interest. "That sounds like a story," Andrew said. "It is," Evelyn replied. But the short version is this. I've just been forcibly removed from one of their flights. I have it on video. Silence, not shock calculation. And the deal? He asked. Dead. Another pause. Longer. Evelyn could almost hear him sit forward in his chair. You're serious. I don't bluff, Andrew. No, he said quietly. You don't. Rain tapped against the glass behind her. Soft, steady. How big is the fallout, he asked. 5 billion, she said. Corporate travel consortium, sustainable fuel partnership, full package. Andrew let out a low whistle. That's not fallout, he said. That's a collapse. It will be, Evelyn said. He did not ask if she was sure, he knew. What do you need? He asked. Evelyn leaned back slightly in her seat. I need a partner who understands that service is not optional, she said. That respect is not situational. That what happened to me cannot happen to anyone under our contract. Andrew answered without hesitation. You'll have it. Terms need to match, she said. And improve. Fuel guarantees. Capacity. Executive travel coverage. We'll beat them, he said, across the board. I'll need legal ready tonight. They are already on standby, he said. I don't wait for opportunities. I prepare for them. Evelyn almost smiled. Almost. I need a jet, she added. New York, tonight. You'll have one, Andrew said. Private hangar. 45 minutes. Evelyn nodded once. Send me your contract draft, she said. We'll adapt. Done. There was a brief silence. Then Andrew's voice lowered. Evelyn. Yes. What happened to you, he said. That's not just bad service. That's a failure of culture. Evelyn looked down at her wrist again. Yes, she said, and culture failures are expensive. I think your former partner is about to learn that, he replied. They already have, Evelyn said. They just don't know it yet. She ended the call. The terminal hummed around her. Normal life continuing. Flights boarding. Flights delayed. People moving on. Evelyn sat still. For a moment. Then her phone buzzed again. Nathan, it's moving fast, he said. We've drafted the termination language. Clean. Direct. We're citing safety failure and breach of good faith. Good. Press is going to pick this up, he added. Especially if your video gets out. It will, Evelyn said. Then we control it, Nathan replied. We release first. Yes. And Evelyn, he said, voice tightening slightly. This is going to hurt them. Evelyn looked out at the runway again. At empty space now, where the plane had been. It should, she said. Nathan paused. Understood. She ended the call. Her phone buzzed again. A message from Rebecca. Board is aligned. Evelyn read it. Then typed back. Execute. She closed her laptop, stood up, picked up her bag. The decision was no longer forming. It was done. Somewhere above the clouds, Continental Vista, Flight 1109 was cruising toward New York. Passengers sipping drinks. Crew moving through the aisle. Linda Harper probably smiling again, serving, unaware. Evelyn Brooks walked toward the exit, not rushed, not angry, certain. Because the moment they thought they had removed her from their flights, she had removed herself from their future. Charles Bennett was pouring himself a second glass of wine when his phone rang. He almost let it go to voicemail. It was late evening in Connecticut. The house was quiet. Soft jazz played somewhere in the background. The kind of night that felt earned. The kind of night that came after months of chasing a deal that would define his career. $5 billion. He had already mentally signed it. The screen lit up again. Nathan Cole. Charles frowned. Strange, he answered. Nathan, he said, warm, confident. Cutting it close, aren't we? I was expecting to celebrate tomorrow. There was no warmth on the other end. Charles, Nathan said. I'm patching in Dr. Brooks. A small pause. Charles straightened slightly. Evelyn, shouldn't she be in the air? The line clicked, then her voice. I'm here, Charles. It was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that didn't ask for permission. Charles felt something shift in his chest. Evelyn, he said, forcing a light tone. Everything all right? We heard your flight boarded on time. A beat then. I was removed from your aircraft. Silence. Charles blinked. I'm sorry. What? Your flight attendant, Linda Harper, refused me service, Evelyn said. She then reported me as aggressive. Your gate agent escalated that lie. Your airport police forcibly removed me from my seat. The words came one after another. Clean. Precise. No emotion wasted. Charles stood up slowly. That doesn't make sense, he said. There must be a misunderstanding. There isn't. He ran a hand through his hair. Evelyn, listen to me. I'll get someone on this right now. We'll fix it. You already fixed it, she said. He stopped. What does that mean? It means your company made a decision, Evelyn said. And now I'm making mine. Charles felt the first real crack of fear. Evelyn, let's not jump to conclusions. This sounds like an isolated incident. It's not isolated, she said. It's cultural, he swallowed. I'll have her terminated tonight, he said quickly. The entire crew, if necessary, will issue an apology. Public, private, whatever you need. A pause. Then her voice colder. This is not about a single employee. Charles's grip tightened around the phone. Then tell me what it is about, he said. It's about a system that believed a lie without question, Evelyn said. A system that saw me as a problem before it saw me as a passenger. A system that allowed physical force without investigation. Charles opened his mouth, closed it again. He had no script for this. I can make this right, he said finally. We value this partnership. You know that, do you? Evelyn asked. The question landed harder than anything else she had said. Charles felt his chest tighten. Yes, he said. Of course we do. Then you should have valued it before your employee put her hands on it, Evelyn replied. He paced now, wine forgotten on the table behind him. Evelyn, please, he said. We are hours away from signing. Let's not throw away something this important over, he stopped himself. Too late. Over what? She asked. Charles exhaled. I didn't mean it like that. But you did, she said. The silence stretched. Heavy, unforgiving. Here is what is going to happen, Evelyn continued. Her voice did not rise. It didn't need to. The agreement between Brooks Meridian Capital and Continental Vista Airways is terminated, effective immediately. Charles froze. No, he said, just that no. It is done, she said. That's $5 billion, he snapped. That's not a small decision. I'm aware of the number. You can't just walk away, he said. There are obligations. There are consequences. Yes, Evelyn said. There are. Charles felt something collapse inside him. What do you want? He asked, voice lower now. Tell me what you need to fix this. Another pause. Then, justice, she said. He almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because he didn't know how to give it. We can settle, he said quickly. Compensation, donations, whatever you think is appropriate. Evelyn let the words sit. Then she answered. You're still trying to price it. Charles stopped pacing. What? My dignity, she said. My safety, my experience. You're assigning it a number. That's not, it is. She cut in. He pressed his hand to his forehead. Evelyn, listen. This will hurt the company. This will hurt people, employees, families, thousands of them. Her answer came without hesitation. For one flight attendant that you enabled, she said. For one system that you allowed to operate unchecked. For one moment where no one stopped to ask what was right. Charles felt the room closing in. You're going to destroy us over this. No, Evelyn said. You already did that. Silence. Then she added, softer but sharper than anything before. I'm just the consequence. Charles sank into a chair. His mind raced. Numbers, debt, projections, the green initiative. All of it tied to her signature. Evelyn, he said, almost pleading now. We can still salvage this. Let me come to New York. Let me meet you in person. No one word. Final. We will not meet, she said. We will not partner. And we will not revisit this. Charles closed his eyes. This is a mistake, he whispered. Evelyn didn't argue. She didn't need to. It's already been corrected, she said. Then the line went dead. Charles sat there, phone in his hand, silence in the room. Somewhere in the distance, a clock ticked, slow, steady, counting down something he could no longer stop. And for the first time since he started chasing the deal, he understood exactly what it meant to lose it. The market did not wait for confirmation. It reacted to whispers. At 6 in the morning Eastern Time, the first alert hit a Bloomberg terminal in a quiet Manhattan office. A junior analyst read it once. Then again. His coffee went cold in his hand. Brooks Meridian Capital terminates partnership with Continental Vista Airways. $5 billion agreement withdrawn. He didn't hesitate. Sell, he said. Across the country in a glass tower in Chicago, another trader saw the same headline. Then another. Then a notification about a competing release. Brooks Meridian enters exclusive agreement with Aeronova Airlines. He leaned back slowly. That's it, he muttered. They're done. Orders flooded in. Sell. Short. Exit positions. The opening bell had not even rung yet. Inside Continental Vista headquarters, The boardroom lights were already on. Charles Bennett stood at the head of the table, his tie loosened, his face pale under the harsh white light. 12 screens flickered along the wall, board members dialing in, faces tight, voices sharp. What exactly happened last night? One of them demanded. Charles opened his mouth, closed it. He had rehearsed something, a version that made it smaller, contained, manageable. It didn't fit anymore. It was a passenger incident, he said, escalated improperly. Improperly? Another voice cut in. We just lost $5 billion. Charles felt the number hit the room again. Not as a projection, as a loss. Our team is working to resolve. No, the first voice snapped. Your team created this. The CFO, Michael Grant, sat hunched over a tablet, his hands shaking slightly. You need to understand something, he said quietly. The Green Initiative, we leveraged it. Charles turned. How much? Michael hesitated, then said it. 2.2 billion. The room went silent. Charles stared at him. Secured against projected revenue from the Brooks contract, Michael added. The words landed like a verdict. Without that contract, Michael continued, the banks can call the debt. When? Someone asked. Michael swallowed. 30 days. Charles felt his stomach drop. That's not possible, he said. They won't move that fast. They already have, Michael replied. We got notice 10 minutes ago. The screens flickered again. A news anchor appeared, calm, professional, unaware of the human cost behind the words. Breaking news this morning. Brooks Meridian Capital has officially terminated its $5 billion partnership with Continental Vista Airways, following what sources describe as a serious incident involving CEO Evelyn Brooks. Charles turned toward the screen. The footage cut in, shaky, grainy, but clear enough. Evelyn being pulled from her seat, her voice calm, firm. I am not resisting Russo's grip. Linda standing in the background, arms crossed, watching. The room did not speak. They watched. Every second, every detail. No one could spin it. No one could soften it. It was exactly what it looked like. When the video ended, the anchor's voice returned. The company has cited systemic failure in passenger safety and corporate oversight. Meanwhile, competitor Aeronova Airlines has announced a new exclusive partnership with Brooks Meridian. Charles sat down slowly. He felt older. Not years. Decades. We can fix this, he said, but the words sounded weak even to him. A board member leaned forward on the screen. No, she said, we can't. Silence again. Then Michael spoke. Our stock opens in 5 minutes. No one responded. They didn't need to. They all knew. The bell rang. The ticker lit up. TCA, $28, then $19, then $14. The drop was not gradual. It was violent. Orders triggered automatically. Algorithms responding to keywords. Loss. Termination. Liability trading halted. Resumed. Dropped again. The room watched in silence. Not shock anymore. Recognition. This was not a dip. This was a collapse. Charles leaned back in his chair. His hands rested on the table. Still. Useless. A voice cut through the room. We need to vote. He looked up. The same board member. Calm, cold. On what? He asked, though he already knew. Leadership, she said. Another voice joined, seconded. Charles looked around. At the faces. At the screens. No support. No hesitation. Only distance. All in favor, she said. Hands raised. One after another. On screens. Around the table. Unanimous. Charles felt something inside him go quiet. Not panic. Not anger. Just empty. Your employment is terminated, she said that. Effective immediately. No ceremony. No gratitude. No softness. Just fact. Security entered the room. 2 men. Polite. Professional. They did not look at him like a CEO. They looked at him like a task. Charles stood, slowly. His chair remained behind him. The room did not move. Did not speak. As he walked toward the door, he glanced once at the screen. The ticker still falling. TCA, down 45%. Still dropping. He stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind him. Inside the boardroom, the conversation shifted immediately. Call legal. Call the banks. Call bankruptcy counsel. The words overlapped. Urgent. Desperate. Necessary. But too late. Miles away on a quiet runway, a sleek Aeronova jet lifted into the sky. Inside, Evelyn Brooks sat by the window. A glass of sparkling water rested on the table beside her. Cold, clear, untouched. She looked out at the clouds as they parted beneath the wing. Her phone buzzed once. A message from Nathan. It's done. She read it. Then set the phone down. No smile, no celebration, just stillness. Because this had never been about winning. It had been about something simpler. Something most people only understood when it was taken from them. Respect, and the cost of forgetting it. Linda Harper did not see the news until her phone started vibrating nonstop. She was in the galley, same plane, same flight, halfway across the country, serving drinks like nothing had happened. "Champagne?" she asked a passenger in row 1, her smile back in place, her voice smooth again. The man nodded. She poured carefully. Steady hands. Perfect posture, normal. That was the strange part. Everything felt normal until it didn't. Her phone buzzed again, then again, then again. She frowned. "Excuse me," she said, stepping into the narrow space behind the curtain. She pulled the phone out. Messages stacked on the screen. Frank. Union rep. 3 missed calls. Text after text. "Call me now. Linda, pick up. What did you do?" Her stomach tightened. She tapped the news app. The video started playing before she could stop it. Grainy, shaky, but unmistakable. The cabin. Her voice, Evelyn sitting still. Then the moment. The accusation. The officers. The grab. The pull. Linda's own face in the background. Arms crossed. Watching. The caption scrolled beneath it. Airline CEO removed from first class after asking for water. Linda felt the blood drain from her face. "No," she whispered. The plane hummed around her. Passengers talking. Ice clinking in glasses. The ordinary sounds of a flight moving forward. But something had already broken. She scrolled. Another headline. $5 billion contract terminated. Another. Continental Vista stock plunges. Another. CEO fired after passenger incident. Linda's breath came faster, short, sharp. She hit Frank's number. He picked up immediately. "What did you do?" he said. No greeting, no concerns, just panic. "I did my job," Linda snapped, but her voice shook. She was aggressive. "Stop," Frank cut in. "They have audio." Linda froze. "What?" "They have the full recording," he said. "She's calm. You're escalating. You told the gate agent," she was yelling, "that she pointed at you." "It's not true, Linda. It's on tape." Linda pressed her hand against the metal wall. Cold, unforgiving. She was disrespectful, she said, weaker now. "You don't understand." "I understand exactly," Frank said. "You fabricated a report. You triggered a removal. You got police involved. And now the entire thing is public." Linda swallowed. "They'll back me," she said. "The company. They always do." Silence then. "No," Frank said quietly. "Not this time." Her grip tightened on the phone. "What do you mean they fired you?" he said. The words did not land at first, like they missed, then came back. Harder. "What?" "An hour ago," Frank said. "Termination for cause." Linda shook her head. No, that's not. The union isn't touching this," he added. "We're not going to arbitration. You're on your own." Linda felt something crack inside her chest. "You're supposed to protect me," she said. "Not when you lie," Frank replied. "Not when you cost 20,000 people their jobs." The line went dead. Linda stood there. The hum of the plane suddenly too loud, too close. She stepped out of the galley, looked down the aisle. Passengers sitting, drinking, watching movies, living their lives, unaware, or maybe aware. A few looked at her differently now. Not respect, recognition. She turned away, walked quickly to the rear lavatory, locked the door, pressed her back against it. Her reflection stared back from the mirror. Perfect hair, perfect uniform, everything in place. Except now it wasn't. She opened her phone again, scrolled. Her name everywhere. Flight attendant at center of $5 billion collapse. Airline Karen. The words hit harder than anything Frank had said. She shook her head. "This is not fair," she whispered. But the words sounded thin. Even to her. Because somewhere beneath the panic, beneath the anger, beneath the need to defend herself, she knew. She had seen Evelyn sitting there. Calm. Composed. Not a threat. And she had decided anyway. Decided what Evelyn was. Decided what she deserved. Decided to escalate. The plane hit a small pocket of turbulence. The cabin shifted, a jolt. Linda grabbed the sink. For a moment, she thought she might fall. Not physically, something else, something heavier. She closed her eyes, saw the moment again. Evelyn asking for water. That was it, just water. Linda opened her eyes. The mirror did not look back the same way. Not confident, not in control. Just a woman standing in a uniform that no longer meant what it used to. Outside, the plane kept moving. Forward, always forward. But for Linda Harper, everything had just stopped. Officer Daniel Price did not sleep that night. He sat in his small apartment, uniform folded over the back of a chair, the television muted in front of him. The same video played on loop across every channel. The same angle, the same moment, his partner's hand grabbing her wrist, her voice calm, clear. "I am not resisting." Daniel leaned forward, elbows on his knees. He had been there, not on a screen, not from a distance, right there. He remembered the feel of her arm in his hand, not fighting, not pulling away, just tense, controlled, like she was holding something back, not fear, something else, dignity. That was the word he could not shake. The news anchor's voice moved silently across the screen. A headline scrolled beneath it. $5 billion airline collapse tied to passenger removal. Daniel reached for the remote, turned the volume up. Sources confirm that the passenger, Dr. Evelyn Brooks, had recorded the entire interaction. Legal experts are calling this one of the clearest cases of wrongful removal in recent aviation history. He muted it again. The room felt smaller. His phone buzzed on the table. A message from Internal Affairs. Report to precinct at 8 a.m. No explanation. None needed. He leaned back slowly, closed his eyes. Saw it again. Russo stepping forward. No questions. No pause. Just action. Daniel had hesitated for half a second. Long enough to know something was off. Not long enough to stop it. That was the part that stayed with him. Not what Russo did, what he allowed. Morning came too quickly. The precinct felt different when he walked in. Quieter, colder eyes followed him. Not openly, just enough. He kept moving. Down the hall, into a small room, 2 chairs, metal table. 2 detectives already inside. They did not smile. "Sit down," one of them said. Daniel sat, hands flat on the table. "Steady. You know why you're here," the other said. Daniel nodded. "Yes, sir." "Walk us through it," the first detective said. Daniel took a breath. Then he told them. Everything. The call, the arrival, the lack of questions, Russo's tone, his own hesitation. The moment he grabbed her arm, he did not soften it, did not shift blame, did not hide behind procedure. He told the truth. When he finished, the room stayed quiet. One of the detectives tapped a pen against the table. "You knew something was wrong," he said. Daniel didn't look away. "Yes. Why didn't you stop it?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "I should have," he said. The words felt heavy, real. Too late. The second detective leaned forward. "Russo has 8 prior complaints," he said. "Excessive force. Verbal misconduct." "You knew that?" Daniel nodded slowly. "Yes, sir. And you still followed his lead?" "Yes." The silence stretched. Then the first detective spoke again. "He's being terminated," he said. Effective immediately." Daniel didn't react. He had expected it. "What about me?" he asked. The detectives exchanged a look. "You cooperated," one said. "You told the truth. That matters." Daniel swallowed. "But it doesn't erase what happened," he said. "No," the detective replied. "It doesn't." Daniel looked down at his hands. For the first time since the jet bridge, they weren't steady. "I didn't see her as a threat," he said quietly. "Then why did you treat her like one?" the detective asked. Daniel had no answer. Not one that sounded right. Not one that could fix it. Across the country, in a quiet office high above the city, Evelyn Brooks sat in front of a long conference table. Her team filled the room. Legal, operations, communications. Faces focused, screens lit. The atmosphere controlled, not frantic, not emotional. Precise. Nathan stood near the screen. "The lawsuit is airtight," he said. "Assault, false removal, civil rights violations. The video removes any ambiguity." Evelyn nodded. "Good." Rebecca leaned forward. "Press response is live," she said. "We control the narrative, not them." Evelyn glanced at the screen. Her own image stared back. Not angry, not shouting, just sitting. Being treated like a problem. She looked away. "Next step," she said. Nathan didn't hesitate. "The fund," he replied. Evelyn nodded again. "Move forward." Rebecca looked at her. "You're sure about this?" Evelyn met her gaze. "Yes." "This isn't about compensation," Rebecca said. "No," Evelyn replied. "It never was." She stood, walked to the window. The city stretched out below her, busy, unaware, or maybe aware now. Slowly, she spoke without turning. "If this only ends with a check," she said, "then nothing changes." Her voice stayed calm, measured. "But if it builds something," she continued, "then maybe the next person doesn't have to prove their dignity on camera." The room stayed quiet. Not because they disagreed. Because they understood. Back at the precinct, Daniel stood up from the table. The interview was over, not the consequence. Just the first part of it. He stepped into the hallway. The same hallway he had walked 100 times before. But it felt different now. He moved slower, more aware, of eyes, of weight, of choices. Outside, the world kept moving. Planes took off. People boarded. Systems ran. But something had shifted. Not loudly. Not all at once. Just enough. Because sometimes it doesn't take a raised voiceto expose a broken one 6 months later. The runway at Kennedy Airport was quiet in a different way. Not empty. Orderly. Controlled. A new aircraft sat at the gate, its polished body reflecting the early morning light. On its side, just below the cockpit window, a small green emblem had been added. Subtle. Clean. Brooks Meridian Capital. Inside the cabin, the air felt different. Not just cleaner. Intentional. Evelyn Brooks stepped in without announcement. No cameras. No entourage. Just a woman in a dark coat, carrying a leather briefcase, moving with the quiet confidence of someone who no longer needed to prove she belonged. The crew noticed her immediately, not because of her clothes, because of the way the senior purser straightened when he saw her. "Dr. Brooks," he said, stepping forward. His voice warm, respectful. "Welcome aboard." Evelyn gave a small nod. "Good morning." No tension, no hesitation, just acknowledgement. She moved down the aisle. Same layout, same seats, same quiet hum of pre-flight preparation. But everything felt different. Near the galley, a younger flight attendant adjusted a tray. Nervous, careful, watching the senior crew member beside her. "Remember," the purser said gently, "presentation matters. But respect matters more." The young attendant nodded. "I understand." Evelyn paused for half a second. Not long enough to interrupt, just long enough to hear it. Then she kept walking. Seat 2B. Same position, same view, different airline, different outcome. She placed her bag down, sat, looked out the window. The runway stretched ahead. Wide, open, clear. For a moment, nothing moved. Then footsteps approached. The purser again. Not rushed, not forced. Natural. "Dr. Brooks," he said. "Can I offer you something before departure?" Evelyn looked up. Their eyes met. No assumptions. No judgment. Just a simple question. She let the moment sit. A small echo of something that had once gone wrong. "I would like a sparkling water," she said, "with lime." The purser smiled. "Of course." No hesitation. No delay. He turned and walked away. Evelyn leaned back slightly in her seat. Her hands rested loosely in her lap. Her wrist had healed. No bruise, no mark. But she remembered, not as anger, as clarity. The purser returned less than a minute later. A chilled glass, clear cold. A slice of lime resting on the rim. Set gently on a small tray. Presented, not handed. "Here you are." "Thank you," Evelyn replied. "My pleasure." He stepped back, not lingering, not watching, just doing his job. The right way. Evelyn picked up the glass. Took a small sip, cold, clean, simple. Exactly what it was supposed to be. Nothing more, nothing less. She set it down. Opened her laptop. Work waited. Always. Outside, the engines began to hum. The plane pushed back from the gate, smooth, effortless, no delay, no disruption, just movement. Forward. Across the runway in another terminal, a different scene played out. An old sign still hung above a row of darkened gates. Continental Vista. The letters faded now, half removed. The rest waiting. A janitor pushed a floor buffer slowly across the tile. Head down, focused. The machine hummed, steady, routine. She paused for a moment, looked up through the large window. Watched the Aeronova jet lift into the sky. Clean, bright, gone in seconds. Then she looked back down, turned the machine on again, and kept moving. Back in the air, Evelyn closed her laptop for a moment. Not because she was finished, because she wasn't. There was always more work, more deals, more decisions. But this moment was different. Not bigger, just clearer. She looked around the cabin. Passengers settling in. Crew moving with quiet efficiency, no tension, no fear. Just a system doing what it was meant to do. Serve, respect, protect. The way it should have been all along. Her phone buzzed once, a message from Nathan. "Approved, first cases filed." Evelyn read it, then typed back. "Good." She placed the phone down, looked out the window again. Clouds stretched out below, soft, endless. For a moment, everything was still. Not silent, not empty, just balanced. Because what happened that day was never about a drink. It was about something most people don't notice until it's taken from them. Dignity. And the truth is, dignity doesn't make noise. It doesn't demand attention. It just exists, until someone decides it doesn't. Evelyn Brooks had been tested. Not by power, by the absence of it. And she had answered the only way that mattered. Not with anger, not with revenge, but with consequence. Real, measured, unavoidable. The kind that changes systems. Not just stories, the plane leveled off. Cruising altitude. Steady, unshaken. Evelyn reached for her glass again. Took another sip, then opened her laptop. And went back to work. Because in the end respect, isn't something you ask, for it's something that should never be denied. And when it is so moan, somewhere we'll always pay the price. If this story made you think even for a moment about how we treat people when no one thinks, then it's worth sharing. Because sometimes the smallest moments reveal the biggest truths.